Dr. R. Sugaraj Samuel. He is working as a professor in physics at New College, Chennai. He is also training students for IIT JEE, AIEEE and BIT SAT. He has more than 16 years experience in both teaching and research. He has published a book titled The Complete Handbook of Bachelor of Electronic Science Practicals, which is prescribed for the syllabus for BSc Electronic Science by University of Madras. He has presented papers in several national and international conferences and has also conducted many training programs and workshops to motivate energetic students. His research areas are ultrasonic, polymers, crystal growth, and photovoltaic systems. He is experienced in both regular classroom teaching and online teaching as well.
Welcome to UGC lecture series. We have been discussing a series of lectures on the subject oscillations and waves. In this lecture, we are going to see the concepts related to coupled oscillators. Before we start the lecture, let us see the outline for today's lecture. This is the outline. In this lecture, we are going to learn degrees of freedom, 2 degrees of freedom, what is meant by coupled oscillation or coupled oscillators, normal coordinates and normal modes, and finally, system with 2 degrees of freedom restricted to springs and masses system we are going to see. What is meant by degrees of freedom? It has got different perspective in different areas in physics. In oscillations and waves, what is meant by degrees of freedom? Let us see the definition first. The number of independently variable factors involved in defining the oscillation is called degree of freedom. It means how many number of independently variable factors which are used for defining an oscillating system. I have given some of the examples as pictures in the same clipping. Here the first picture shows a spring mass system which has got the variation only in the direction of x. The mass can move in the direction of x, and this k is the stiffness or spring constant. And how many variables are required for defining or specifying the position of the mass at a particular point of time in space? It is only x, that spatial variable x. So, this has got a degree of freedom as 1. The same way for a vertical oscillation, again the only one variable y is necessary. It is sufficient to specify the position. So, this is the varying factor, and in the case of simple pendulum, it is only one variable theta which is going to change. For small oscillations, even this lateral displacement x also could be taken as a varying factor. So, in the examples we have seen so far, only one quantity like either x or y or theta is sufficient to specify the position at a particular point of time. So, these systems have 1 degree of freedom. So, it is nothing but the number of variables used in defining the system. The degree of freedom as far as the movement of molecules is concerned, in how many ways, translatory, rotatory and oscillatory, kind of how many ways a molecule could move, that tells about the degree of freedom. But as far as oscillation is concerned, how many variables are defining the position of the system, oscillating system at a particular point of time is called the degree of freedom. So, we now know what is meant by degree of freedom and some examples for 1 degree of freedom. Then for higher degrees of freedom, how the systems could exist. So, we have to understand all those concepts and then take up a specific system, and fully we are going to analyze in this lecture. Let us see further what is meant by 2 degree of freedom. The oscillating systems which require 2 coordinates to describe the motion are called as systems with 2 degrees of freedom. We would like to specify hereafter the degrees of freedom as DOF. For defining the position, if 2 coordinates, namely x and y or r and theta kind of combinations, if they are used, then it is said to be a system with 2 degrees of freedom. For that, we will normally use a generalized coordinate system. What is meant by generalized coordinates? The coordinates are called generalized coordinates when they are independent of each other and equal in number to the degrees of freedom of the system. The key point that we have to notice here is independently varying factors. The variation in the value, say x, should not affect the value of y. So, in that case we call them as generalized coordinates. X and y could be taken as generalized coordinates. Sometimes in the same direction x, it could be x1 and x2, one would not affect the other. So, they are also called independently varying factors. So, those are called generalized coordinates. So, this point we have to use at a later stage. Now, let us see further more about the 2 degrees of freedom. A system with single degree of freedom has only one coordinate and hence one equation of motion is required to express the oscillation of the system. But in the case of a 2 degree of freedom system which has minimum of 2 coordinates and hence 2 equations of motion are required to represent the motion of the system. For a conservative natural system, these equations can be written by using mass and stiffness matrices. And further we go deeper into the learning. With the help of the 2 varying quantities, we may have to write 2 equations involving the 2 factors or the 2 variables, and then we have to mathematically solve them to learn the type of oscillation and the frequencies which are possible in the case of oscillations, all that. So, right now additional information we have, that is, with the help of the 2 independently varying factors, we need to write the 2 equations of motion. So, 2 equations are necessary as far as 2 degree of freedom system is concerned. We can develop the concept further to many degrees of freedom, that is our ultimate goal, but we will be moving towards that as we learn the 2 degree of freedom, which would help us to understand the systems with higher degrees of freedom. And one more technical information we need to know, that is 2 degree of freedom differs from the single degree of freedom system in that it has 2 natural frequencies, and for each of the natural frequencies there corresponds a natural state of vibration with a displacement configuration known as normal mode. The mathematical terms associated with these quantities are called eigenvalues and eigenvectors. We have come across some of the technical terms which are called normal modes. With the help of 2 equations, if we try to solve the equations, if it is a 2 degrees of freedom system, then we will have naturally 2 possible frequencies of oscillation, the naturally occurring frequency, 2 frequencies at which the system could vibrate, which are the normal modes. In a single degree of freedom, we simply call it as the natural frequency or the frequency of oscillation, which is governed by the stiffness and the mass. Stiffness here means the spring constant, the inherent term, and the mass which we could attach. So, in the case of 2 degrees of freedom, we have 2 naturally existing frequencies. So, those 2 frequencies are to be found, and in the mathematical formulation we will come across a matrix method of finding solution, which requires a higher order mathematics for solving the equations, which will enhance our way of simplifying the equations, or we can call that as a mathematical tool, the matrix method of solving it. In that we will come across eigenvalues and eigenvectors. Those seem to be the solutions for the oscillating system. We will have to further learn about it. So, before that we will reiterate what is meant by the normal mode. Let us see what it is. Normal modes. Normal modes of vibration or oscillations are free vibrations that depend only on the mass and stiffness, which is also called spring constant of the system, and how they are distributed. A normal mode oscillation is defined as the one in which each mass of the system undergoes harmonic motion of same frequency and passes the equilibrium position simultaneously. So, this is the definition for the normal mode. The two masses will vibrate simultaneously or oscillate simultaneously, and it will cross the mean position at the same time. So, those frequencies or those modes of oscillations are called normal modes. Before we typically take up a system of the 2 degree of freedom, let us have a look at the way in which how the 2 degree of freedom system will exist, how it will look like. So, let us see some of the examples for 2 degrees of freedom. These are the examples for the 2 degrees of freedom system. So, here we have a mass, two masses m1 and m2, which are connected by 3 different springs having spring constant, namely k1, k2 and k3. The mass m1 can have a displacement x1 like this, the mass m2 also can have a displacement like this here as x2, x1 and x2 are the displacements. And this is the example for the coupled oscillation. See, this mass m1 is connected to m2 by means of the spring k2 here, and of course, m1 and m2 are also independently connected with the springs k1 and k2. So, this is a typical example for a 2 degree of freedom system. And not only that, this is also an example. Here there are two masses m1 and m2 connected, and these two springs are kept in parallel connection, and they are also making the masses vibrate vertically up and down. They are also coupled, connected. See, by this horizontal plane it is connected. So, with respect to this center of mass, which is marked here in blue color, the system will move or it will oscillate. And this is again a typical example for the 2 degree of freedom system. See, there are two simple pendulums, one connected after the other. This is a single degree of freedom system, and along with that another one is connected. This is normally called as a double pendulum, which we will be learning at a later stage in this lecture series. So, this double pendulum has got two variables theta 1 and theta 2. So, they can independently vary with respect to each other, and they have different lengths L1 and L2 here. So, like that we can have several such examples for 2 degrees of freedom systems, and they are commonly called as coupled oscillators, because one oscillation is connected to another oscillating system and they are connected, they are coupled with each other. So, they are examples for coupled oscillators, and we can take up any one system for our study and try to learn the mathematical part of it and how to find out the normal modes of vibration. That is our ultimate aim. We have to find out how many possible modes are here for a particular system, and also what are the possible modes. So, let us learn further about them. We are going to take a system with 2 degrees of freedom as like this. For the simplicity's sake, we have taken the two masses as identical masses. We have two identical masses m and again m connected with 3 springs having same spring constants K. We can have different masses M1 and M2, spring constants K1, K2, K3 like that, but we will be complicating the system. In the beginning, to start with, let us take same masses, identical masses and identical spring constants too. So, with a simple example like this, if we take a system to solve, the mathematical part will be easy and we will be able to arrive at the normal modes very easily. And for the sake of simple mathematics involved in this, we are restricting ourselves to identical masses and same spring constants. So, let us see how the system is oscillating. See here, x1 and x2 are their independent displacements. For analysis, we have taken x1 and x2 to be towards the right, and see here, these are the normal positions. This x1 is equal to 0, x2 is equal to 0 for the masses, and the masses have moved to the right, x1 and x2, they are independent variables. So, why it is called a system with 2 degree of freedom? Because there are two values x1 and x2 defining the position of the system, that means the two masses here. So, we call this as system with 2 degrees of freedom. Just for the simplicity of mathematics, we have taken the masses as same and spring constants as same. Let us see how the mathematics is developed on this oscillating system. We will have to find out what are the forces acting when the system is disturbed, and accordingly we have to write the equations using free body diagram. The extensions of the left, middle and right springs are respectively taken as x1 and x2 minus x1 and x2 respectively for the 3 springs. Assuming that x1 is equal to x2 is equal to 0 corresponds to the equilibrium configuration in which the springs are all unextended, which is called naturally as the unaffected position or neutral position. And we have written these two equations for the two masses, namely m and m again, because they are identical masses, and x1 and x2 are the positions, the variables. And what is the meaning of this x1 with 2 dots on top? This is a mathematical way of writing the acceleration. X with 1 dot on top is the velocity, it is dx by dt, and x with 2 dots on top means it is the second derivative of that x quantity, that means d square x by dt square. So, it is differentiated with respect to time. So, here the x with 2 dots on top represents the acceleration, and we very well know the acceleration is proportional to the displacement, which means it is simple harmonic. So, for the two masses we have written the equations like that, keeping that in mind. So, let us see the equations again. So, these are the two equations. I will highlight the two equations alone for the sake of understanding. Here these two dots on top of x1, similarly here for x2, these two terms are the accelerations. So, m mass multiplied with acceleration is the net force, which is equal to the respective displacements. This is due to the first spring which is connected to the first mass, and this is with respect to the second spring which is getting compressed by this term x2 minus x1, and similarly for the second mass also we can write an equation like this. This first term is due to the spring which is connected to the left of the mass, and this is due to the spring which is connected to the right of the mass. So, let us have a look at the mass diagram once again. So, this is how the first mass is connected to these two springs, and the second mass is connected to the other two springs. According to their displacements, we have written the two equations. So, how these two equations are written? Keeping the free body diagram in mind, what is the net force that would cause acceleration on the mass. So, keeping that concept in mind, we have written the two equations. So, these two equations involve the two variables x1 and x2, and of course, the masses and also the spring constants. Because we have taken the identical masses, the mass is same, m represented as m in both the equations, and the stiffness is same for all the 3 springs. We have taken the term as k uniformly. So, we will be able to mathematically handle the terms. If they are not identical as we have taken in this case, what would happen? We will have to take the mass as m1 and m2, the spring constant as k1, k2, k3. So, the equation will become little complex. So, as we learn further, we will be able to handle the system with several varying things, several factors like m1, m2, k1, k2, k3, along with these 2 factors x1 and x2, which are the main variables in the equation. We will be able to mathematically solve them. But before going towards the general way of solving it, let us take up a simple case where the masses are identical and the spring constants are identical, and see how the mathematical simplifications are done. See, now we would like to write the equations further. The above equations can further be written as like this. We are introducing new terms like omega naught here. What is the meaning of omega naught? This m is brought to the right hand side, and what is the meaning of omega naught? This omega naught is k divided by m, the square root of k divided by m, that we have already used. But here we should not get confused, because we have written the term omega naught as a frequency term here, the angular frequency term here. We should not have a misunderstanding that the system is vibrating at omega naught. This is just a term which is involved in the process of simplification. So, right now we may not be able to explain anything about this term omega naught, maybe at a later stage we will be able to, but right now this omega naught is just taken as a term which simplifies the factor which is existing in the main equation. We have a separate meaning for this omega naught later, but right now it is a term, simplified term. So, now the equation is simplified like this, and further simplifications are also done to this equation. See here, now we need to find the solution with which the 2 masses would oscillate with the same frequency omega. Here the omega we need to find out. The same frequency meaning is the 2 masses should vibrate with the same frequency. So, these are the 2 solutions which we are familiar with. It is a commonly existing solution for any equation which we have written in the first case. So, we have arrived at the 2 solutions which are sinusoidal solutions for this form of equations, second order differential equation of the form that we have seen. So, based on that idea, we have written the 2 equations like this here. These are the solutions. Here x1, x2 and phi are the constants. The above equations could be further written all involving the sinusoidal terms, and finally, that could be brought into this simple term in this way after assuming what is omega bar. Here we have got a term omega bar, which is omega divided by omega naught. This is all done just to make the equations look very simple. So, we have arrived at this equation with x1 and x2 as variables in both the equations involving this omega bar. Omega bar is nothing but the ratio between the frequency which we need to find out. This omega naught is the term that we have introduced in the previous slide. Now, the 2 differential equations are now reduced to 2 simultaneous equations with x1 and x2, and which could be solved with a condition for non-trivial solution. It is shown here. These are all just mathematical way of doing it. So, I would like to quickly go ahead for the typical solution that we obtain using the matrix method for simultaneous equations. See, this is how for solving the simultaneous equations we can use the matrix method with the condition for non-trivial solution, and we have this as the matrix equation which represents the 2 simultaneous equations which we had seen. As per the criterion, the 2 bar 2, the 2 cross 2 determinant must be 0 for obtaining the solution. In that case, this is how we get the condition, and after solving the condition we arrive at two solutions for this omega bar. Omega bar is the solution we wanted actually. So, omega bar can have two solutions which are shown here. The solution for that is 1 or root 3 according to the previous equation. It is thus apparent that the dynamical system has two unique frequencies of oscillation, namely, see the omega bar is nothing but omega divided by omega naught. So, if we substitute for that, we get the omega is equal to omega naught as one frequency and omega is equal to root 3 omega naught as another frequency. These are called the normal frequencies of the system, or in simple terms the normal modes. So, the system can oscillate in two different frequencies, namely omega is equal to omega naught and omega is equal to root 3 omega naught. So, let us see the interpretation for this further. Since the system possesses 2 degrees of freedom, that is 2 independent coordinates, it possesses 2 normal frequencies which are also called normal modes of vibration. And further to it, in fact, it is the general rule that a dynamical system with n degrees of freedom possesses n normal frequencies or n normal modes of vibration. So, this is a simple proof shown that the number of modes, the normal modes of vibration will be equal to the number of degrees of freedom. So, for 2 degree of freedom, we have 2 modes of vibrations or 2 normal frequencies. So, this is clearly shown in this analysis. And when we have the too many factors or too many terms involved like M1, M2, K1, K2, K3 etc., all those are not equal, then we may have to use a higher order mathematics, may be called Lagrangian, and that Lagrangian has to be written first and then we have to use mathematical tools to solve for obtaining the normal modes. But here we have not gone into the Lagrangian method of solving it. Maybe in the complicated cases we may have to use Lagrangian. What is Lagrangian and all that we will be able to discuss in the subsequent lectures. So, in this lecture we have simply seen a system with 2 degrees of freedom and we have obtained the solution using normal method of solving. Maybe a matrix method is only used, which is normally done for any simultaneous equation solution. Before I wind up today's lecture, I would like to see the summary for today's lecture. Let us see the summary. In this session, we have seen the concepts of degrees of freedom, 2 degree of freedom, coupled oscillators, normal coordinates and normal modes, system with 2 degrees of freedom pertaining to springs and masses. And before we wind up this lecture, let us test our understanding by answering these simple questions. What is degree of freedom? Define general coordinates. What are normal modes of oscillation? Discuss the theory of 2 mass with 3 springs system elaborately. So, with this I would like to wind up today's lecture and we can learn about the pendulum which are connected to each other, namely called as double pendulum, and we will be able to solve a double pendulum in the subsequent lecture under the same topic. So, thank you for listening.